It has been a year of change because the government changed. And narrative changed and stories changed. And also, actually, the way we hear those stories, the way the narrative of this country is portrayed or conveyed has changed also. The news media, have changed awfully. News Hub is gone. And guess what? Democracy didn't falter or fall. The spin-off is, it would seem to me, in terminal decline. There's a restructure going on at Stuff. NZME is at war with ZB, even though they're owned, or the Herald's at war with ZB, even though they're owned by the same people. The government has embraced and now abandoned the digital news bargaining bill, which would have seen successful internet companies taxed or levied or compelled to give money to failing legacy media. And in the meantime, little outfits like the platform seem to be doing just fine without any taxpayer money, thank you. To talk about the media landscape in the year 2024, we're joined by someone I just call Media Guru, though that's a rather legacy media way to describe him. He is the Honorary Research Fellow at the Koitu think tank, Gavin Ellis, and he joins us by phone now. Oh, Dr. Gavin Ellis, I should say, Gavin. Is Gavin all right, though?
Morning, Sean. Legacy probably describes me too.
Yeah.
Septuagenarians.
What is the Koitu think tank?
It's the think tank at Auckland University run by Sir Peter Gluckman that looks, across a wide range of issues from science to
Who funds that?
Social issues. Yeah.
Who funds that?
It has a wide range of donors, actually. In fact, I think one of the donors is also one of your donors.
No, that's different. But that's the Right Family Foundation, which is the charitable thing. Yeah. And I think they do fund it. All right.
Yeah.
Does the taxpayer pay for any of what you do?
Well, only in as much as it's part of Auckland University. So we live in an Auckland University building.
Okay. Gavin, it has been a year of change in news media, and we had dire predictions that somehow Paddy Gower not having a regular job would lead to the fall of Western civilization and democracy as we know it. Can I just say none of that came true? We seem to be okay. Society seems to be functioning without News Hub.
Well, we've got an a sort of an alternative to News Hub in the Stuff supplied news bulletin. I wonder what would have happened in terms of public reaction if the Stuff bulletin hadn't taken its place and there'd been no news on.
Well, no one's watching the new bulletin. Its ratings are pathetic.
Some are. But look, the point is that, as you say, democracy hasn't died. But at some point we reach a tipping point where we no longer have the ability to hold power to account the way that it should be. And,
but we haven't exercised that ability, Gavin, for a long time.
Well, don't you? Don't you
I
hold
do,
power to
but
account?
I do that without any government funding.
No,
without any taxpayer funding,
Yeah, but Sean, it's not just a matter of government funding. We have private sector media that is struggling. Now,
well, they're struggling because they have taken government funding and because they're not telling stories that are relevant to people.
Well, I think that you got two different issues there. Now, first of all, I think the government taking government funding is a bit of a canard. Their problems are because the model on which they were based, an advertising revenue model and, in the case of newspapers, a cover price subscription model, are broken. Now, that's the principal reason they're in strife, not because they've taken government money. And I think that we've got to find ways of overcoming that. Now, because it's absolutely vital that we do not end up with simply a dominant, publicly funded media organisation. That would be wrong and bad for democracy. But we've got to find ways of making journalism sustainable. And when I say journalism, I'm talking about journalism at scale. Journalism that reaches large numbers of people. because it's important that, that we have both large audiences and multiple players serving those audiences. Not just one, not just two, but multiple players. Now, what we've got to do is find ways of changing the model away from the legacy model and the legacy media. The days of putting ink on dead trees is going to end, and that's inevitable. I think broadcast television is in its final days now. Radio, I think, is actually more resilient. We've seen, I think radio has managed to survive better than the others have. But even that is probably at best flatlining rather than declining. And of course, we have the startups like yourself, Newsroom, and so on. But we've got to find ways of ensuring that if those legacy companies don't survive, there's something that replaces them with the journalism. I don't care how it's produced or who produces it, so long as it's produced.
Well, it's got to be journalism, Gavin. And you were, and it was Chatham House rules, but in general, everyone knows you were at this BSA thing that I was at a few weeks back in Auckland. Yeah. And I imagine a lot of people who are in that meeting are going to be very disappointed that the government has pretty well effectively scrapped its interest or moving towards the fair bargaining, digital news bargaining bill. They seem to have put that quite seriously on the back burner.
Well, they put it on hold. But look, I've never held out much hope for the fair bargaining bill anyway. If it benefits anybody, it'll only benefit the bigger players. Everybody else will really get a pittance. Yeah. But I'm not sure that bargaining is the right word, because there's a power imbalance there that is manifest, and we've seen it in Australia. We know where Meta walked away, and in Canada.
Well, what's the power imbalance there?
Well, it's just that they are so big. That the platforms are so big and so powerful that they can call the shots. I've never been in favour of bargaining.
They don't call the shots. They run their businesses.
They run their business in a way that is detrimental to this country. They take
they don't.
They take huge amounts of untaxed revenue out of this country through profit-shifting arrangements that the OECD is cracking down on.
Well, I don't live in the OECD, Gavin, but I can tell you the real problem that wasn't addressed in that meeting is not Meta, and is not Google, and is not X. It is that New Zealanders are losing faith in their traditional news media and losing trust in it faster than anywhere else in the world. And that is an issue of content. And that is an issue of editorial decision-making. And that is the issue that has been created by accepting government funding to take positions on things like the Treaty of Waitangi, or you don't get the money.
Well, I agree with you on the issue of trust. I disagree with you on the cause of it. I think the cause of it is that principally they've allowed comment to enter their reportage so that we don't know what is fact and what is a reporter's own opinion. And I think that more than anything else has affected people's trust.
I disagree, Gavin. I think everyone knows what the reporter's opinion is, and they disagree with those reporters' opinion. I'll give you an example.